When you go to these various outings throughout the years, do you sort of just zoom in on someone, like go up to them, you just can see that they're going to be a willing participant?
Absolutely. I have a real good radar, I think, for people that will make good, have a good on-screen presence. That's just come with, it's just a sixth sense. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but I've been fortunate and lucky that I can kind of get a sense of who's gonna, I mean, you know, if they don't run from the camera, then you know they're fair game, and there's a good possibility that they'll share whatever on camera. And but you know, if people don't want to be on camera, I don't chase them down or anything, or try to put words in their mouth, or try to, you know, and some of it's just, you just engage people, and then you don't really step on them when they're talking. You don't want to really just you know, step on what they're saying. You just kind of give them a lot of you know, airtime, or just a chance to just say what have you. I mean, that was the thing when we were making the TV show, because TV is a lot different than my independent work. When I'm doing a video or a documentary, or I can give a lot of you know, there can be a lot of pregnant pauses, what have you, or just for the necessary you know, just breathing space. But in TV, it's got to be quick. You know, they can't risk losing a potential, they can't risk having somebody change the channel. So when we made the TV series, it was cut much quicker than anything that I would normally do with my independent work. But I understand that. I know the realities of making television and versus doing independent documentary.
So, excluding Heavy Metal Parking Lot, with these other projects, and not for television, but maybe just the films, are you setting out for like a 3-act structure, and you're hoping to, you're planning out the resolution?
Well, this goes back to that point. I mean, I tend to not do any pre-production, unfortunately, because sometimes you're just at a loss as how you're going to make something out of what you have. And I mean, the new film Led Zeppelin Played Here has a good story arc that was miraculously developed, but it was not planned. And it just, we shot a lot of material and then have to kind of see it in the edit and make sense of it. I mean, and then figure out how to tell the story. But I mean, and that's the first feature-length project I've done. It's almost 90 minutes long, and so you really have to tell a story if you want people to not squirm in their seats. You have to really keep them engaged, and so I think we've done it. Some people would disagree, think it's too long, but a lot of people have, enough people have responded positively that I feel okay with the length and how we went about doing it. But it wasn't planned. A lot of the stuff unfolded, and also, you know, but if I did have certain things I wanted to include or touch on, if I was still interviewing somebody, I made sure they said something that would throw to that I could use as a thread. Connecting the dots it's easier if you plan. It really is.
And if you can't, what do you use as filler? You do some B-roll and put some music?
Absolutely, B-roll, anything, but you gotta just really think for what the audience is gonna wanna sit through. I mean, I do a lot of talking head interviews, and so it's hard to, it's tough to make people sit through a talking head. But interesting thing, I use a lot of phone interviews in this film. And so that's interesting to then try to take, or radio. I have radio, you know, banter and conversation and interviews on the radio, and then also the phone call interview. And so you have to have some visuals. And you know, it's just, but some cases the people on this interview audio are so charismatic, they really help move this sequence along. So it almost doesn't even matter what you're showing, but you have to have something to look at. But a lot of it's just your trial and error. You really, and that's kind of at the root, I think, of what my body of work, trial and error. You know, that's a good.
But it keeps it fun for you.
Oh, sure.
Because you have the other job or whatever the other. how much lightness does it bring to you, rather than, oh, we've got to get this, we've got to get our investors paid back?
Investors, I should be so lucky. Yeah, I don't have any real. I mean, I don't have very many hobbies. I don't think like conventional. Like I don't golf. I mean, golfing's fine. It's a fine pastime, but you know, or boating. They're fine pastimes that take a lot of time and energy
and money.
Mm-hmm. But I think the time more than anything, an investment of time. And so for me, I spend time doing my projects and working on these different projects and building a body of work that I end up sharing online. I'm not quite as prolific these days. I want to just kind of go back and clean up the shelves with a lot of unfinished projects. But that's what's great about being able to have your own YouTube channel. Just put it up there and hopefully people will find it.